This is Inside the Crew, your weekly look at all things black and gold. Here's your host, Neil Sika and Dwight Burgess.
This takes you back, doesn't it, Dean?
Beethoven takes me back. I'm that old.
Well, this is 88. Maloney 88.
Yeah.
Welcome into Inside the Crew, everyone. We've officially hit the Crew's MLS regular season hiatus, the Gold Cup break. They won't play again until June 23rd at home against Sporting Kansas City. They do have an Open Cup game, fourth round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup a week from tonight against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Connor Maloney's going to join us. Coming off a 2-2 tie against New York City, the Zach Steffen send-off game. A lot of good things, again, in this one. They had two leads, too. So they've scored 4 goals the last 2 games. And you can say they're feeling positive going into the break, but, man, it would have been nice to have a win. They'll take the point. And then this wacky Eastern Conference that keeps hurdling itself, we'll see what happens when they resume things with 2 more home games.
They're human. Early part of the season, things were going their way. They're playing with a measure of confidence, and quite understandably, they don't have that same level of confidence right now, and it's due to a variety of factors, part of which is they haven't been getting results, so they're not quite as prepared, I think, mentally to finish off games when they have an advantage. That's something they'll play their way through, and there have been changes. Some have been, tinkering a little bit to try and find a little better way to play, and some have been forced to them on injuries. The depth of injuries, and you really have to know this roster to understand, beginning with Valenzuela and then awful, and it just changes. It's just like with Pipa out. Pedro Santos came in and did a great job, but he's not Pipa, right? So you're putting other players who are legitimate professionals into roles, but their strengths are not the same as the guys they're replacing, and that changes.
Of course, Dwight referencing Federico Higuaín, many Crew fans well aware his torn ACL, which he suffered in the Colorado game. Really a damn shame that's going to keep him out the rest of the season. Santos plays the 10 role Saturday, scores a goal. Zardes from the spot. It was a good, aggressive first half. Tough goal to stop on the second opportunity by Castellanos, who tied the game. But the Crew will get out of there with a point as they sit right now at 5-9-2 with 17 points. And below the playoff line, but they got 2 big home games, Kansas City and Orlando, when they resume things at the end of June. So all these injuries and tinkering, and they're going to be able to do that in the Open Cup coming up as well, as they'll have some chance to play some personnel, perhaps experiment in different positions. And a guy like Connor Maloney, who's going to join us here in a matter of moments, Dwight, will get a chance on the field. He made his season debut on Saturday, but he's another guy that, with the fullback situation the way it is, never say never with anybody playing on either side right now.
And until this past weekend, Columbus had played the most games of any team in the league, and now they're just second behind Montreal and D.C., who have both played 17, the Crew now 16. This is the first chance that Caleb Porter and his staff had a chance to actually breathe, to step back and take a look. They can give the guys some time off, which they need. And I think the Open Cup game, the timing is great as it relates to a chance to just begin to make some modifications and then see that against a non-inter-squad scrimmage type opponent. And, the pride of Harrisburg knows both sides of this matchup.
Third-year pro joining us here on this week's show and talking about his season debut and what's ahead for the team. Off his season debut on Saturday night against New York City, fullback Connor Maloney joins us here on Inside the Crew. How you doing, Connor?
Good, Neil. How you doing?
I'm great. Glad to have you on. Had to be good to get on the field, I would think. You'd been in the 18 3 times, and the injury bug has hit this team, but walking out with a point going into the Gold Cup break, I'm sure everyone had hoped for a victory, but something positive to build on over these next 22 days before the next league game.
Absolutely, yeah. It was tough. We would definitely like to have gotten the win, but getting at least a point going into the break is going to be huge for us. There's a lot of things to build off of on that game. We have a game coming up for Open Cup, so we just build off each and every game that we have, and these next couple days that guys that aren't at the Gold Cup or African Cup of Nations we'll definitely take advantage of, and a good rest will be needed since we're about halfway through the season now. So just get re-energized and come back as fresh as possible.
Connor, Neil and I have talked over the last 6 weeks or so during the broadcast about the team and coming up ever so short. But bottom line is we have described you guys consistently as a competitive team that's right on the edge and just can't quite get things to fall into place right now, as opposed to not being a very good team. Is that a fair evaluation, do you think, from a player's perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair evaluation. I think every game that we go into, we are – I would like to think that we are pretty much the better team. We create the most chances, but now we have to get to that point where we're just ruthless in front of goal and getting those goals and really stepping on the other team and stepping on them early. And so I think that's a fair evaluation because I think the whole locker room thinks that we are a very competitive team. We feel like we are one of the best, and in every game that we're in, we feel like that we are the better team and that we can win every game. But I think that ruthlessness in front of goal is going to be key for us going forward to this next half of the season.
Third-year pro Connor Maloney joins us here on Inside the Crew. Zach Steffen's final game and much ballyhooed and got the send-off he deserved. I want to go back and see if you remember October of 2014, your lone encounter in the Big Ten, when Maryland had just joined the conference. I believe it was a 4-0 Terps victory. You had one shot on goal. Zach had the shutout. What will you remember about him as a teammate, not even playing against him in college, but on your days here in Columbus, and what he's meant to the organization the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it all started when we were a lot younger. We played against each other in the academy, and then when we were in the Philadelphia Union Academy system, we played together, and he's the best goalie that I've ever played with. By far, the best goalie that I've ever seen in MLS. And his days in Columbus, when I came here at first, I knew him very well, so he welcomed me with open arms, and he made me feel very comfortable. And that's just the type of guy he is. He's a very down-to-earth, humble person. He just made me feel at home, and the city is going to miss him a great, great amount, and the team's going to miss him as well. He's a great, great soccer player, and I have no doubt that he's going to have so much success going over to Manchester City and wherever he goes and life going forward. I mean, he's meant so much to his club, the city, the guys, always off the field. He's just a pleasure to be around, and he's just 100% just the greatest guy. And we're going to miss him a lot. We really will. But now it's time that the next guy has to step up, whether it's John Kempen, whether it's Joe Bendick, whoever it is. It's just the next guy up has to step in and fill his shoes. But you know what? It will be tough to fill his shoes because he's been one of the greatest in MLS, and we'll miss him a lot.
I love the way you described him as a person. That has certainly been our experience with him too, Connor. And I think sometimes, the fans, well, first of all, they don't have the access to the players in the same way. You guys spend a great deal of time together, beginning in preseason. You travel throughout the regular season. And I think sometimes it gets lost in the mix that this is a collection of really good, just decent people. And they're fun to be around, and you guys find a way to work through things. And I imagine Zach's departure is also going to be a bit of a loss in that context because he's one of those guys that seems to really connect a lot of personalities.
Yeah, he really is. He's a very outgoing guy. So he really brings people together that are just maybe not as comfortable or not as talkative. But he brings people together. He welcomes people with open arms, and we'll miss him a lot in that aspect for sure. I think people really don't know him off the field. They don't have the access like obviously us players do, and we know how much he meant to us. So sending him off is definitely very, very hard for us, and we're going to miss him a lot. We really will. I mean, we'll definitely still keep in contact because that's the type of guy he is. He doesn't forget who his first guys were on this team and the guys before him. He'll never forget those people. So he's just that type of guy, and he'll be missed truly.
Well said. Connor Maloney joining us here on Inside the Crew. A little perspective from your eyes after spending a couple of years or a couple of games each season the last 2 years with Pittsburgh. They're the Open Cup opponent next Tuesday at Mafre Stadium. What was your experience like playing for the Riverhounds, club affiliate in 16 and 17? But you had a couple of loan spells, just a couple of games each. But your thoughts overall on the Riverhounds and that organization?
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds is a great organization. They have a true, rich history of being very, very good team. So we're not going to take any game lightly, especially in the Open Cup. This is another Cup game, another chance to win a trophy. So we're not going to take them lightly. But when I was with them, they're a great run organization, and they love to compete. So I don't see them doing anything less on next Tuesday. So we'll be ready for them. But my time there was great. I know the coaches pretty well, pretty familiar with them. So they have run a great organization there, and I think we'll be ready for the task on Tuesday and ready to get going again after these couple of days off.
I'm going to demonstrate my advanced age to you right now, but I made multiple trips to Harrisburg over the years. Prior to the start of MLS, when the NPSL Indoor League was just really what was happening across the country, and called many a match inside the State Farm Show Arena, I believe that's correct. What is going on?
Correct.
What's going on there these days?
Hey, the Harrisburg Heat are still a thing. The Indoor League is still happening. So they still have an indoor team in Harrisburg Heat, and it's actually funny you mentioned that. They have a farm show. That's exactly where they play. So they have a little horses in there. They have this farm show. They have a bunch of they have a cafeteria with a bunch of food, and it's just I grew up watching Harrisburg Heat. That was like one of my first soccer games I've ever gone to. Is a Harrisburg Heat game, actually. And I actually one of the guys at Penn State, he was the kicker, Joey Julius. His dad used to play in indoor soccer league, so it used to be really funny. And those are one of the first games I've actually ever been to.
Yeah, Julius, I remember. There was another name that Pulisic that passed through there as well. Oh,
absolutely. And Pulisic actually helps coach the Riverhounds as well. So I'm very familiar with him because my little brother played with Christian throughout PA Classic. So we're very good friends, and we were very good family friends as well.
Small world.
It's such a small world.
Well, there's how many Maloney siblings? There's a pretty good chance you're going to know somebody who's a Maloney with the degrees of separation from that general area, right?
I got an older brother, older sister, and a younger brother. So there's quite a few.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure it's going to be a fabulous wedding upcoming January 2020, you and Jane, and that's been in the works for a while now. How's the preparations
I was going to say, all you got to do is announce the location, and we're set.
It's in Annapolis. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. We're coming, Connor, if you haven't guessed by now.
We're really excited. There's a wedding coming up January, so we're kind of getting things ready for that. It's kind of been a nice couple of days off just to get things situated. Her mom has been a huge help since it's back in Annapolis, Maryland, down by the Navy Marine Corps. So that's where she's from. And
well, at least you said the right thing when you said her mom's been a big help. You're in a good place.
Yeah, she really has. She's been doing a lot of things down there, especially since we're up here in Columbus. And it's been tough to do stuff from here and better to do stuff in person. That's kind of how I am. And she's been a huge help. So we're very excited, and we just can't wait.
Well, we're very excited for you. Great to see you get on the field on Saturday. Look forward to watching you play in the Open Cup game, and keep working hard. All the best. Thanks for this, Connor.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Connor Maloney, crew fullback. Come back. We'll talk to Columbus Dispatch's Jacob Meyers, team beat reporter. Stay with us inside the crew here on The Fan.
All sports, all the time, and whatever it is Common Man and T-Bone do, we still don't know. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
We have to talk about it.
Nope, I don't want to.
We have to.
No.
But we need life insurance.
I am not listening to you.
So you don't love me then.
What? Oh, fine. We need life insurance, but all the paperwork, it's such a pain.
Not with Ethos.
Ethos? Is that some kind of yoga thing?
No, Ethos is life insurance for people like us.
Like us?
People who don't have time for fine print, insurance jargon, and hidden fees.
Yeah, I pretty much hate all that stuff.
Of course you do. With Ethos, you can apply online, and there's a policy for every budget.
Really?
Yes. The online application only takes 10 minutes, and you'll be taking the first step in ensuring the kids and I will be safe, even if something unexpected happens.
Ethos brings you choices that don't require an in-person meeting with an agent, and in most cases, there's no need for a doctor's appointment.
Feel better?
Yeah. I do.
Ethos, life insurance made simple. Apply online in just 10 minutes. Get a free instant quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ETHOS life.com. EthosLife.com.
Buckeye Lake Marina knows individuality is important. That's why they take great pride in paying close attention to their customers' boating needs and interests. Buckeye Lake Marina is family owned and operated and can provide you with the latest and best in water sport products to make your outdoor living more enjoyable. Don't miss out on the huge savings this boating season on popular brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Check out Central Ohio's largest selection of over 100 new and used boats inside Buckeye Lake Marina's 15,000 square foot showroom. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today, and we'll see you on the water.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I could really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to Goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Let's talk about Chad. Last year, he was working 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet, barely staying above water. In February, Chad started his information technology career, making more money, doing something he loves. Don't love what you do? Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Classes meet on campus or live online 2 or 3 times a week. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. mycomputercareer.edu.
Golic and Wingo.
As the NFL tries to make a safer game, you wonder what point we get to where these rules start to affect the way the game is actually played and coached.
Golic and Wingo.
Presented by Mumu Express Car Wash.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on The Fan.
Drink, throw, and repeat at Throw Nation, located in Dublin. Throw Nation is one of the first throw bars in the country and perfect for any occasion. Dates, birthday parties, corporate events, or simply to blow off some steam. Throw Nation is an active entertainment center specifically built to drink beer and throw stuff. Throw footballs at bowling pins, frisbees at beer bottles, baseballs at china plates, and axes at bullseyes. If you're looking for the greatest night ever with friends, this is it. Drink, throw, repeat at Throw Nation.
This Friday, log on to 971thefan.com and grab the Fan Deal of the Week. Purchase a $50 gift certificate for only $25 to Throw Nation in Dublin. This Fan Deal of the Week is your chance to experience the excitement of drinking beer and throwing stuff at Throw Nation, located at 6649 Dublin Center Drive. This Friday, log on to 971thefan.com and click the Fan Deal at the top of the page. There's only a limited number of deals available for Throw Nation starting Friday at 9 a.m.
Chris and Maddie Spielman talk about choices.
So, Dad, I know you're a spokesperson for Buyers Dublin Subaru, but when it was time for me to buy my own car, out of all the dealerships in Columbus, you still told me to go to Buyers. Why?
Well, Maddie, I'm not just a spokesperson. I'm a customer. Buyers is known for great service, selection, and price. And truth be told, I wouldn't send my daughter to just any dealership.
Great choice, Dad. I love my Subaru.
Find the car that's right for you. Buyers Dublin Subaru. Off I-270 and Billingsley Road. Just look for the giant windmill.
In the new 2019 Acura ILX, control is yours for the taking. Take control of your phone with available Android Auto integration. Take control of the conversation with the striking Diamond Pentagon grille. And help keep things under control with Acura Watch Advanced Safety and Driver Assistance Technology. Standard. Put control in your hands and test drive the ILX today. The new 2019 Acura ILX. Total control.
Visit your Central Ohio Acura dealers, proud partners of Columbus Crew SC.
50 million Americans live with a brain or spine condition. For all those people, at Ohio Health, we never stop. Turning crooked smiles into big grins after a stroke, and cautious steps into confident strides for those with Parkinson's disease. It's how we got to be one of the nation's 15 top health systems. Just like you never stop looking for answers, we never stop. Connect with us at ohiohealth.com/we never stop. Ohio Health Neuroscience. Believe in we.
Back to Inside the Crew. Here's Neil Sika and Dwight Burgess.
These guys are from Columbus. Little Beartooth.
That was going to be my guess, Beartooth.
Better than Sheeptooth.
Okay.
I just went with the first animal that popped in.
No, it's good. It's all good.
We're keeping an eye on the U20 World Cup, which the United States and France in their round of 16 matchup. I want to thank Connor Maloney for coming on. And the crew hit this Gold Cup hiatus. Of course, the Open Cup game a week from tonight at Monfrey Stadium against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the USL Championship. We've got a show debut here, Dwight.
That's what we're all about. People helping people.
We welcome with open arms crew beat reporter from the Columbus Dispatch, Jacob Meyers, in his first season on the beat. How you doing, Jacob?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome to the show. I guess we'll turn about fair play, the Dispatch podcast. You had Dwight on, so we're equal opportunity both ways.
I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Bringing people together, making the world a little bit smaller.
So, Jacob, 15 games into the season now, and 16 as a matter of fact. Do you get the assessment after covering this team day in and day out that the break was much needed, especially with the injuries that they've taken on here in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've kind of talked about this throughout the season, and it's really become apparent through this stretch of 8 losses in 10 games now. I think we kind of overlooked it at the time how big those absences of Milton Valenzuela and Harrison Offal, certainly Harrison Offal, since they went out and got Waylon Francis to fill a spot at left back. But, yeah, this is not only a good time to kind of get some guys healthy, but also a really good time, especially after the injury to Higuain, to assess what this team is, and for Tim Bezbatchenko, Pat Onstad, and Caleb Porter to kind of look at, okay, what do we have and where do we need to add to make this, make a third straight playoffs? Because I think what we've seen is there's really only 2 games where this team has been outplayed, and it's been when they rotated, Houston and Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is certainly looking a lot better now than they did early in the year. I think this team is right there, and you're starting to see some glimpses in the offense there. So, yeah, I think this is a really good time for the front office and the coaching staff to look at maybe where they can add and maybe turn it around in the second half.
And I think it both simplifies and complicates the process, given that Higuain's out for the rest of the season. On the one hand, you can make decisions about how you want to move forward. On the other, he has full expectations of himself returning next year. And you have to balance all of those things, including, what you want to spend in terms of the salary cap. But by and large, do you see it that it's going to be good for the team if they know he's not coming back this season so they can really commit to something else?
I think there are 2 ways to look at it. Certainly that way. And, Andrew Erickson actually sent me what he had written when Higuain signed his 1-year extension. And Higuain said, after this year being 2019, he's going to be 35. And if he feels like his body's not up to it, he's okay with stepping it away and saying, maybe my time is done. But then say that is the path that they go down, they can make a huge splash. Or if they want to, do another 1-year extension, you have more depth now, and maybe you add a DP level guy, but maybe not a huge signing where eventually you could maybe buy him down with TAM and get a DP guy later that's even cost a little more than that. So I think there are 2 routes they can go here, and certainly it all depends on how Higuain recovers from this injury, and it's a tough one at 34 for sure. But, yeah, I think this is a quandary for the front office and for the coaching staff. But, I mean, if you look at what they're kind of doing in the intermediate steps, Pedro Santos really stepped in there and looked the part. So I think that was certainly encouraging, too, and it kind of adds another facet to this equation.
Jacob Meyers, Columbus Dispatch, joining us here on Inside the Crew. Very strong first-half performance from Columbus in the 2-2 tie against New York City, walking out with a point, so there's a bit of a positive. As you've talked with Caleb Porter here the last couple of weeks, and as the injuries have piled up, as we were just discussing, do you get the sense he's going to tinker a little bit more? Santos in the 10 role right now, but could we possibly see some more experimentation into a 4-3-3 or the formations that he had tried at times in Portland?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible, especially late in the year. I mean, you look at the 2015 season, he made changes late in the year and they go on that run, not only to make the Cup final and win it, but just to get into the postseason. And what he kind of said after the game is the 4-2-3-1 that they run now is really more like a 4-2-1-3 with the way they now play Santos, was Higuaín underneath of Akam, Rubinho, and Zardes. So, yeah, I think they are going to use this 3-week period not only to get guys healthy, but to look at different formations. And they have the Cup games to kind of experiment that way, too.
You know, I think all of us felt that Caleb made a really smart decision day one, and that is to embrace this veteran team he was taking on, look to tweak a thing here or there, but to give them an opportunity to stay in their comfort zone. And I think the byproduct of that is now he's got enough video, he's got enough game minutes, he has enough training time with this collection of players to be able to formulate some pretty specific decisions about what options they do have and what options maybe they don't have. As we look back on this, because it is such a long season, and the key to MLS is just making the playoffs. We have seen that year after year after year. There's no reason to believe, in my mind, that this team isn't going to be able to get things on track again and potentially have a really strong second half.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. And, you know, it was difficult to come away with maybe takeaways like that, especially for the offense, because, I mean, that's really what we're all looking at. And, yes, they do need to improve on their set-piece defense, which was really good at the beginning of the year and just seems to lose a couple steps recently. But their offense, Colorado, you know, they executed on, I think of that assist that Higuaín had to Zardes. I mean, how many times have they run that play this year, just a quick little action to the near post from Zardes, and he's able to get the smallest of touches on it. That's really what they're looking for. And I think you saw similar execution this week. I think like Akam on the transition, there were just smart decisions made, and they really just need to continue to do that, I think, for fans to believe that, okay, maybe the offense is there. Maybe it's no longer, yes, we're getting in good situations, we just need to finish it off. It's, okay, we're getting in good situations and we can consistently finish it off now. But moving forward, yeah, I think this team can turn it around. It's, you know, just they need to capitalize on these points here. And as I know you guys mentioned on the broadcast, they have a lot of road games coming up. They have 2 at the end of the month here after the Gold Cup break, where they have to win at home. Caleb Porter called them must win. So I think if you get 6 points from those 2 games there, it's a completely different equation. And the East is wide open too. I think that's something no one's really talking about.
Yeah, that's right. Philadelphia, D.C. playing a little bit of leapfrog right now. You've got Atlanta coming along. Jacob Meyers, our guest here on Inside the Crew, beat reporter for the Columbus Dispatch. Do you get a sense when the summer transfer window opens, they've got their targets identified? What's your sense in talking with Bez and even a Pat Onstad on where they're going? I know that we've talked about winger-forward combo, and now you got to look at the goalkeeper position too.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of always the situation. I think they're really going to use these Open Cup games not only to test out formations and stuff now because of injury, but it was always going to be these games and the few league games before the transfer window opens on July 7th to look at that goalkeeper spot. Maybe Joe Bendick and John Kempen split the Open Cup games. I would think that John Kempen is the guy they go with in league games right now until maybe they bring in a goalkeeper. But, I mean, just to keep it in perspective, it's difficult for a scouting staff and the front office that wants to look a year ahead. They only had, December and onward, and even I think that's a generous timeline to really think of how much time they had to look at targets and whatnot. But what Caleb Porter said last week in terms of position players is they always looked at maybe a pocket winger and a guy who can play a 10. You look at, Pedro, kind of what Pedro Santos did this week, and maybe bring in a guy like that with a little more technical and tactical skill. I think that's definitely a priority for this summer transfer window, but they're going to make sure they get it right. If not this transfer window, definitely in the winter.
Jacob Meyers, Columbus Dispatch, crew beat reporter here on Inside the Crew. Great stuff, great insight. Keep up the good work, Jacob, and we'll talk to you down the road. Thanks for this.
Thanks, guys.
Jacob Meyers giving us a little insight on what's ahead for the Black and Gold in the second half of the season. We'll come back. Doug McIntyre, Yahoo Sports. Talk a little MLS here on Inside the Crew.
Tough to listen to the radio at work? Check out the Fan app or listen online to Bishop and Laurinaitis from 10 to noon weekdays at 971thefan.com.
Attention. This is a money-making opportunity. Are you interested in making active and passive income each month flipping real estate tax liens? Then listen to this. The ProSource Tax Lien Company is offering a free tax lien flip kit, which contains educational videos and a step-by-step report that will show you how to earn government-secured returns up to 18%. Plus, see how you can access tax lien inventory, not available to the public. So, if you want to become a real estate investor without swinging a hammer or being a landlord, then text FAST to 31,000 now to get your free tax lien flip kit. And get ready to learn how to flip tax liens and acquire houses well below wholesale prices for big profits. All from home, working part-time. Text FAST to 31,000 right now to get your free tax lien investor kit, plus 2 free tickets to a live training event, which includes a free smartwatch just for attending. Text FAST to 31,000. That's FAST to 31,000 for your free tax lien kit now. Individual results may vary.
Blink, and they're gone. Graduation, backpacking across Europe, starting their first jobs, off to see what's next, to find out who they are without us. All the more reason we come to West Virginia every year to introduce them to simple things like rolling hills, secluded lakes, summer campfires, all those things we loved doing when we were kids. So we come here to let them make their own memories. And we hold on to that feeling for as long as we can.
The family fun you're longing for is here in West Virginia. Don't wait. Find your unforgettable version of heaven at wvtourism.com.
Can't get enough Buckeyes? We've got you covered. The 11 Warriors Radio Hour.
Presented by Atlas Butler Plumbing Services and Buffalo Wild Wings.
Wednesday nights at 8. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Are kids better off in an intact family? You bet they are. This is Joe Cordell of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. Kids living in a household with married parents do better in school, they're emotionally healthier, and they're more likely to stay out of trouble with the law. If you're in a troubled marriage, of course you should do everything you can to save your marriage, if only for your kids' sake. This includes considering alternatives to divorce. Of course, in some circumstances, divorce is unavoidable. In either case, if you're a man facing a crisis in your marriage, let us help you at Cordell & Cordell. Remember, we're the partner men can count on.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Columbus area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 614-907-9200. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Cordell & Cordell, 10 West Broad Street, Suite 1550, Columbus, Ohio, 43215.
At Midas, you'll find all the expertise you need to take care of your car. From brakes to tires to oil to everything. You can count on Midas to tell you what needs fixing now and what can wait. So whether your check engine light just went on or you remembered that it's time for your regularly scheduled oil change, now is the time to head over to your locally owned and operated Midas. We'll tell you what needs fixing now and what can wait. Come on by and see us. For brakes, tires, oil, everything. Trust the Midas touch.
You post, pin, shop, share, like, tweet, and retweet. Now you can do it all and a lot more for just $34.99 a month. With a 2-year price lock guarantee, it's WOW's Internet 100. All the speed you need with no data caps. Act now and you can get Internet 100 for only $34.99 per month with a 2-year agreement, auto pay, and paperless billing. Now that's something to post about and tweet and blog and email. Call now at 1-866-WOW-WAY2. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer for new customers subject to change. Restrictions apply.
Visit 971thefan.com to vote in the Fan Poll.
Presented by Buyers Imports by the airport.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Back to Inside the Crew. Here's Neil Sika and Dwight Burgess.
Guarantee a ticket to the August Tell Is Real match 2019 partial plans are still there. Only 4 matches necessary. I think now there's 9 home games in the books for the crew. 447 crew for more information. So act on that.
Well-planned schedule.
Yes. If you want to see FC Cincinnati in town, that is August 10th, the home leg. And then a couple weeks later on the road. On the road, soon to be, to cover the Women's World Cup is our good friend, formerly of ESPN, now of Yahoo Sports. You can read his 24 Thoughts column, which is very insightful on a weekly basis. Our good friend of the show, Doug McIntyre, joins us here on Inside the Crew. How you doing, Dougie?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're great. We're great. It's always good to chat and catch up. What do you make of this first half of the MLS season? What maybe headline or two stands out for you? We know LAFC has looked like a juggernaut, but what are you maybe looking at in arrears and for the second half of the season to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind is LAFC. I mean, they've just been so dominant and really fun to watch and set the standard, I think, in a lot of ways, on and off the field. An exciting club, second-year team, and it continues to be the big story in MLS. I mean, we saw what Atlanta United did in their second season last year. So yeah, really LAFC and the season that Carlos Vela is having with them. I mean, on pace to set another goal record after Atlanta's Joseph Martinez did it last year. So pretty interesting. And I think that Atlanta's still a good story. I mean, they came out the gates not well under a new coach, and there was a lot of hand-wringing, and they've gone and turned things around over the last 6 weeks or a month or so. So, I still think that for a league that has so much parity, we always want to talk about the best teams and the big teams, and certainly LAFC and Atlanta continue to drive a lot of the storylines around Major League Soccer.
I think it's been one of the biggest changes in the league. I agree with you 100%. It's very balanced. Anybody can beat anybody on a given night, and no matter how strong a regular season may be, that doesn't guarantee anything come the postseason. But I think we've begun to see over the last several years what it's truly meant about this influx of new owners who are willing not just to own teams, but to invest in teams. And those that are spending a lot of money and doing it intelligently are seeing a payoff for that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the one thing I would say is that you use the word intelligently, and I think that's the key. We've seen the smartest teams succeed, and sometimes that's coupled with a ton of investment, like we've seen in Atlanta, like we saw in Toronto, the last 2 MLS Cup champs. But it's funny. I was talking to Merritt Paulson last week for a story on their reboot as a club. It's not just about the $100 million stadium renovation that they just did. Really, a club that was among the most relevant in MLS. For them to open up the pocketbook and spend that kind of money when they really didn't need to, things were going well for them. Says a lot about the ambition of some of the other teams that are maybe in smaller markets. And one thing that Merritt said that I thought was interesting was that, for all the success that LAFC has had, and they were Portland's opponent in their opener, and unfortunately for Portland, they were not able to beat LAFC. LAFC, continues to demolish any team in their way, and won that game in Portland. But, Merritt said that, LAFC is not. They're not spending the kind of money that Atlanta and Toronto did. What they've done is spend wisely, and I think we've seen that, and you see with other teams around the league. The Philadelphia Union are in first place in the Eastern Conference. Sure. That's not a team that spends a ton of money. They've done it a completely different way by playing their kids, playing a ton of homegrown players. We've seen the Red Bulls do similar the last number of years. They've won the Supporters' Shield 3 of the last 6 seasons and seem to have righted the ship after a slow start. So, for all the talk about the money that's being spent, I think that we're continuing to see, how it's being done and where teams are prioritizing. Some with their first team rosters and getting big stars in, like whether it's a Carlos Vela or Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Wayne Rooney in DC, or teams that are opting to go a different route and invest heavily in their academies with the hope of creating their own stars. I think it's really interesting that both methods seem to be successful in MLS in 2019.
Yahoo's Doug McIntyre with us here on Inside the Crew. You mentioned big names. Summer transfer window comes up starting July 7th. A big name in terms of MLS circles. Omar Gonzalez coming back to Toronto FC. But what are you hearing maybe in terms of big name signings across the league that might pop up on the second half here of 2019?
We'll see. But as we talk here today on Tuesday morning, Neil, I think the story that's kind of caught a lot of people's attention is the one that has David Beckham trying to recruit Luis Suarez and potentially even Lionel Messi to MLS in the next couple of years.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, if that's going to happen. Obviously,
pretty ambitious there.
Pretty ambitious, but when you think about it, doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility either. I think we all agree that whenever Miami comes online, they're going to be a club that's going to go the route where they're trying to recruit superstar players, and superstar players the world over like to spend time in Miami. So I don't think it's going to be the hardest sell. And I think this league, whoever the stars that come next, this league is going to continue to be attractive for some of the top names in the sport.
Ronaldo, I think, probably preferences Vegas, though he may not be going back there again anytime soon. But as we look at Florida, don't you think that one of the things that David Beckham has going that nobody else in the league does is he's got personal relationships and he's got limitless funding. So any international player who might still be considering coming to the States, they're going to know and have a measure of confidence with David that they may not have in certain other organizations just because of those two elements I mentioned.
No question about it. And I think that Miami, would have been just fine without David Beckham. They'd still, with the money available to them and the location, they would still be able to attract top players. But then when you add David Beckham to the mix, obviously, like you mentioned, this is the sort of guy that he can call up people personally. He has their phone numbers. If he doesn't know them, he knows he has friends who's played with guys. And he's also obviously done it. He came over and started the Wave as the first designated player in 2007. So that sort of credibility and name recognition, you couldn't ask for a better recruiter than David Beckham.
Who's Doug McIntyre with us here. A couple more minutes with you, Doug. Normally you'd be gearing up for the Gold Cup in a past life, talking about the International Summer of Soccer, but now you're headed off to France for the Women's World Cup. We had JP Delacamera on the show last week. In your mind, what team could maybe challenge the Americans? Is it the host country in France, Germany, England? And what are you most looking forward to with this edition of the tournament?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of teams that can challenge the U.S. In this tournament, and I think that's really exciting. It's great for the women's game. This is the most competitive Women's World Cup we'll ever see. There's legitimately 5 or 6 teams that could win this tournament, and I'm not sure that's ever been the case before. But so yeah, all the countries you mentioned can absolutely do well, but I do think France, the host nation, is the biggest challenger for the U.S. And the interesting thing is, if both teams win their group, they would actually meet long before the final in the quarterfinal. So that would be very interesting, and I think that would be. I think whoever wins that game, if it does happen, will go on to win the tournament. But that would be a tough matchup for the U.S. playing in a hostile environment against a very good French team that maybe lacks some experience, but they're excellent technically. They can match up with the U.S. well athletically, and there's not many teams in the tournament that can do that. I still think the U.S. is the favorite to win. They are they have unbelievable depth. You talk about bringing someone like Carly Lloyd off the bench. That's pretty amazing. So I do think the U.S. is the favorite, but if they meet France in that quarterfinal, things could get pretty interesting.
Doug, always enjoy reading your stuff, and everyone should as well. 24 Thoughts on Yahoo Sports. Doug McIntyre covering Major League Soccer as well as the rest of the American sports landscape. Great stuff. We'll catch up with you down the road. Enjoy France in the tournament, Doug.
Thanks very much, Neil. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
We'll talk to you. That's Doug McIntyre, Yahoo Sports. We'll come back, put a bow on the show. This is Inside the Crew on The Fan.
You save the crew. We air the crew. Your radio home for the Columbus Crew all season long. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
For over 70 years, Moffering Insurance has been offering Ohio customers a full range of insurance solutions for their home and automobiles. And partnership with a broad network of independent agents, helping you get the right insurance for your cars and homes, along with extra coverage, like umbrella insurance, is what we pride ourselves on. Contact your independent agent to learn more about what Mafre can do for you, or visit mafreinsurance.com/crewsc.
Finding your beach with a Corona can sounds exactly the same as finding your beach with a Corona bottle. To prove it, listen as this man relaxes with a Corona can. Well, this man has a Corona bottle. Can. Bottle. Once more, the Corona can. Well, they still sound almost exactly the same. The Corona can. Another way to find your beach. Please drink responsibly. Corona Extra Beer. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Cloud-based premium accounting software and full-service payroll for up to 100 employees.
PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Here's a little radio lesson. We have 3 stations for you to choose from. You're on the Fan, but if you hit that little HD icon on your radio, it magically takes you to 1460 ESPN. And then if you hit it again, it's our HD3 signal. Sometimes you'll find goodies on there like crew games. This public service is brought to you by me. Common Man here for Weed Man. Let's talk about mosquitoes. They suck, and you may think there's nothing you can do about them, but you'd be wrong. Call my guys at Weed Man. Here's what they do. They target where mosquitoes live, put down regular applications to reduce mosquitoes on your property. It's safer for you, the kiddos, and those pets, too. Yeah, they get bitten, too. And, of course, they can get you that green, weed-free lawn of your dreams. I am proud to be a Weedman customer. For a free quote, go to WeedmanUSA.com. That's WeedmanUSA.com.
Ohio, welcome to Save Yourself with Geico.
You gather some coworkers around your laptop to watch the funniest video ever.
So funny.
But nobody is laughing. You couldn't save yourself from the next 3 minutes of unlaughable regret. But you could save yourself hundreds by switching your car insurance to Geico.
Yes.
You could save on motorcycle, boat, and RV insurance, too.
Nice.
Plus, the Geico Insurance Agency could help you save on homeowners and renters insurance.
Oh.
While your sense of humor has become your biggest problem, you should know Geico is the second largest auto insurer in the country.
Okay.
Geico even has a 97% customer satisfaction rating and has been helping people save money for over 75 years.
Ooh.
And while your little video party isn't going as expected, you could expect more savings like federal and military discounts from your local Geico agent.
You couldn't save yourself from a laughless video flop, but you could save yourself hundreds with Geico online, over the phone, or at your local office.
Let's talk about Chad. Last year, he was working 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet, barely staying above water. In February, Chad started his information technology career, making more money, doing something he loves. Don't love what you do? Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Classes meet on campus or live online 2 or 3 times a week. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. mycomputercareer.edu.
Imagine being denied an apartment because of housing discrimination.
It's so wrong.
But who has the power to stop this?
You do. The law is on your side. If you've been discriminated against because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, or familial status, file a complaint with HUD. Fair housing is your right.
Use it.
Visit HUD.gov/fair housing. A public service message from HUD and the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Back to Inside the Crew. Here's Neil Sika and Dwight Burgess.
What is it, Netflix that has a show on these guys? Dirt, have you seen it?
I have seen it. For those who aren't aware, I enjoy documentaries, and particularly of whether it's bands. I've been rewatching all of the World Cup movies out there. FIFA puts out one. Watching the 1966 in England, you have to go watch that. It's just stunning how much.
As soon as I walk out of the studio, I'm going to.
Yeah,
and I will.
You can watch it on your phone while you're in between shots.
And that's it.
Shots on the golf course.
Welcome back to the show. Putting some closing touches on this week's edition. Thank Doug McIntyre for coming on. Talk a little MLS, and the Women's World Cup is just about to get underway over in France. U.S. opens with Thailand. Crew have 2 more matches at home this month. Celebration of Women in Sports. They've got the Circle of Honor, late Ziggy Schmid. That's Orlando City on the 29th. So head to ColumbusCrewSC.com for more information. And individual match tickets currently on sale. Got the Circle of Honor, post-match fireworks, alumni night. A lot of good stuff over the summer. So get out to a game, and they're going to need the support because they need the wins at Mafre. So we're keeping an eye, of course, on the international scene with all these tournaments going on. Copa America, Gold Cup, Women's World Cup, U20 World Cup. You've got the U21 Euros. They're all straight ahead. And right now we've got the finger on the pulse of this round of 16 game with the United States and France in Poland. And it's 1-0 as we watch this with the goal by Soto, the kid from the Bundesliga who's been shining in this tournament. So that's kind of exciting, despite just 30% possession. The senior team plays with 3 Crew players on it tomorrow. Audi Field, Jamaica, Zardes Trap, Stefan, as they tune up there for their Gold Cup run. You got Abubakar Keita, Dwight, who started now all 4 games in this run for the U20s, which is quite impressive from where he was, and then getting the call up on the first of the year in January and not really seeing any time with the team prior to that.
It's going to be a difficult spell now, June and July, certainly for non-soccer fans in this country, because there's so much, as you just laid out. It's going to be on television everywhere, and for those who love the game, it's going to be a fantastic time. But you talk about what we've been seeing, and we tend to get caught up in the moment, particularly in this day and age of instant access to information. But there are a lot of elements around Columbus Crew right now that shine brightly for the long-term future, and whether that's developing youth players, acquiring new talent, obviously the new stadiums coming in. It's a great time to follow, but to your first point, right now the supporters need to stay behind this team. You and I, over many years, have seen some bad teams. Mm-hmm. This is not one of those. This is a team that has been close. Their confidence is down. They've been decimated by injuries that have really made things more complicated than I think even those of us who've been around the team the longest imagined. But this is MLS, and all you got to do is be above that line at the end of the regular season, and you got a shot. There's no reason to think that they not only won't be there, but they can't be higher up the table. Nobody in the East has run away.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And early on, Jacob Meyers was talking about making the playoffs for a 3rd year in a row, and I've said this for years, and I know they've got their struggles here with the roster right now and the injuries, but to your point, it's a playoff team on paper, the way they started, 4 wins in 6. And I want this club. Some people out there may look at it as a grace period. The team is saved, and rightfully so, but there's no reason to think to establish the culture of, say, the Red Bulls 9 years in the playoffs consecutively. That can happen here. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't want the hiccup from one year to the next. You had that in 16. You had the 2-3 year layoff from 12 and 13 before they got back in 14. There's no reason to think that they can't go on a run in the second half. I want that type of consistency. I want to see that type of consistency. The field to obviously be satisfied with where they can be. And it's a single elimination playoff format now. Anybody can make a run. You get in, and who knows what could happen. So that's what I have my eye on for the second half. And can this group buy in? And I think they will. And we'll see what happens.
I don't think there's any question this team is still together. They still follow Caleb Porter's lead. We get to spend time with them. You talk to some guys that are around the area, retired players, and the look of this team is not one that is desperate. The look of this team is not one that's given up. It's a look of frustration because they know their potential. But you bring up an excellent point. Where's the balance? On the one hand, you want to get 2019 turned around and on the fast track at the same time. This is something you want to be able to develop that has that foundation for the long term. So with Federico Higuain down now, do you want to go out and do you want to replace him? Or is that money long term going to be spent at another position? Those are the kinds of decisions, that the leadership is going to make, but there is nobody better than Tim Bezbatchenko when it comes to managing the budget, whatever it may be. So there's plenty to be excited about, and I think it's just a matter of staying focused and some internal decisions have to be made. How far do we want to go with getting 2019 turned around versus how far do we want to be able to plan in advance so that we can have sustained success?
That's a great point. Next week, Open Cup against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds of the USL Championship. And for Columbus, it's a chance, too, to get some guys healthy during that period, but also play some that have gotten minutes sparingly. Connor Maloney was on the show earlier. He came on in a cameo to close things out against New York City and has had some experience with Pittsburgh. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff on June 11th. Our show will air at 9 o'clock, and we'll have some insight perhaps on that, and we're still TBD on our assignment for next week, but that game can be viewed on ESPN+. So this is an opportunity now, a trophy that is near and dear to the organization's heart based on the fact that they won it in 2002, made a run to the final in 2010. It's been a while since they found a groove again, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we've seen teams do it. I think of DC United. You go back just a couple of years, they had the worst regular season in league history, but during that season, they also won the Open Cup.
2013.
So, yeah,
Houston last year.
Yeah, this is up to Caleb Porter and his staff to decide how they want to manage it, and I think it is unfortunate that the injuries are forcing their hand a little bit, but time will tell.
We will continue on. We will march on even through this hiatus because we're your home for Crew Soccer, and we will keep you up to speed on everything going on in Black and Gold land. Colin Barringer at the controls. Thanks to our guests, Connor Maloney, Jacob Meyers of the Columbus Dispatch, Doug McIntyre, Yahoo Sports. We'll be back with you next week, 9 o'clock. Inside the Crew, your radio home for the Black and Gold, is here on 97.1 The Fan. Dwight?
Neil, there's never a show complete without Jackal.
Yeah, you got it. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Helping you lower your at-work production. Carpenter and Rothman.
Get back to work.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Papa John's believes it's good to be different, so we've added 6 new pizzas to our handcrafted specialty menu, because no one rolls with an all-cheese crew. So get together and figure out who's a meatball and pepperoni and who's an ultimate pepperoni, who's a flying Hawaiian or a zesty Italian, and who gets the title of Mr. or Miss Congeniality, the pepperoncini. That's all the ingredients you need for a good time. And right now, get any large specialty for just $12. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. At participating U.S. stores, taxes, delivery fee extra.
From the opening kickoff through the 90th minute, your Columbus Crew SC never stops battling to secure a victory. And at Medical Mutual, we never stop working to provide high-quality health insurance plans for individuals, families, and businesses throughout Ohio. Every day, our goal is to offer members an extensive network of doctors and hospitals and award-winning service. As the official health insurer of the Columbus Crew SC, we're happy to assist you with a scoring plan that meets your needs. Visit medmutual.com/Crew SC.
Like your phone, but not your service? With Spectrum Mobile, you can keep your current phone and upgrade your network. Simply pick the data plan that's right for you. Pay for the data you use, or choose unlimited for just $45 a month per line. All in. And talk and text are always free. Switching is easy. Go to spectrum.com/BYOD to learn more or to find a store near you. Spectrum Internet required. Restrictions apply.
With Domino's week-long carry-out deal, you can carry out large 3-topping pizzas and now medium 3-topping handmade pan pizzas for $7.99 each. It's pan-tastic news.
Cut. Puns?
You mean pans? Calling all pan addicts for 2 layers of cheese on crispy golden crust. So grab your panty packs, because Domino's large 3-topping pizzas and medium 3-topping handmade pan pizzas are $7.99 each. It's pandemonium. Fantastico. Carry out only. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, and charges may vary.
When someone gives you a gift, it's customary to accept it. A gift of winding trails, wrapped in blue skies and fresh air. A gift of rivers, lakes, and streams, overflowing with possibility. Designed to be shared with everyone. Of aerial zipline adventure.
amidst a sky-high canopy of scenic forest. Or the gift of a self-guided tour on 2 wheels or 4. Pure adrenaline with a twist of a throttle. It's the gift of West Virginia. The gift of adventure. And I always accept it. Because it's exactly what I need.
When it comes to adventure, West Virginia has so much to offer. Find your version of outdoor heaven at wvtourism.com.
Broadcasting from the Compare Quote Insurance Studios.
They do the shopping, you do. 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 They do